Ring the alarm bell, ring it right now. Listen, guys, Ortex has confirmed. Shorts are decreasing, right? We have been counting on the fact that this number stays healthily above 20%. This down 3.7%. Was it a technical glitch? Was it a discrepancy explainable by something other than shorts are covering? Ortex here is confirming on his own Twitter account 5.5 million shares are down over the day. This means that short sellers have started to close their positions, but this does not mean that you should be running scared. No, it means that the hedges are irrevocably ducked. And how does this account for the fact that we know that gods can bleed? We know that these shorts aren't too afraid to cover. They're not too proud. They are greedy. Do not make a single mistake about that. How does this all relate to, again, Ortex dropping out a short squeeze signal? This is just from a couple of hours ago. Hashtag short squeeze signal was generated on AMC, and we checked that on the cheat code algorithm, and we see that as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if all of this excites you and you want to see the tiniest hot sauce in the world, I want to be able to show you that at the end of this video. So stick to the end and pay attention. Put on your data thinking caps. First things first, what is this number? Right? What is this number that we talk about all the time? The short interest percent of free float. Right now, we've been used to this number being above 90 million. This is just a number outside of 400 to 500-ish million shares available for AMC, and the percentage of these shares that exist floating out into the ether, bananas on trees that apes like you and me, retail investors, can trade, and how much of it has been borrowed from one person and sold to another, perhaps you. Perhaps the share that you are holding right now belongs to someone else. If this number gets too large, then the obligation for these short sellers to return a share beyond the portion that they can reasonably provide is like a bank run waiting to happen. That's the short squeeze in a nutshell. If this number grows higher and higher, either through the recursive shorting of one stock, how we can see GME getting up to above 100% and perhaps even staying above 100% short interest over the course of the January squeeze, and how we are seeing AMC now bounce around this number here. The cost to borrow decreasing all the way down. I explained in the previous video that we had shorter, but in terms of shortness, they're actually the smaller hedge funds that had smaller short positions. They were attacking this cost to borrow by borrowing as much as they possibly can, driving this up 1,000%. Right, all the way up to 240% here, right? We are missing now 90% of that cost to borrow, because this was in a one last ditch attack to try and avoid being margin called. So they borrowed as many shares as they can until the Citadels and the Melvins were the only ones left. The larger short whales are the ones that are currently still fighting the fight against AMC. Take a look at the last few minutes of the live stream from Friday, and you'll see the price action on AMC getting spoofed, layered at $12.99, just 2 cents away. Right, at the end of the day, we closed at $12.98, just 2 cents away from closing at $13. And that's a difference of 9,300 more contracts getting in the money. So this is bad news, but it gives us a sign that there is someone currently still hammering away the manipulation, hammering away at us. And if they wanted to roll over, we wouldn't have as much of a fight to fight, right? You don't understand what this means when it comes back down to the idea that we have seen these hedge funds close their short positions, the smaller ones, the ones that had been margin called and across a sea of red with only AMC and GME and the other meme stocks in green. So in that sense, this squeeze signal comes directly hot and fresh from cheat code algorithm if you wanted to use it yourself and check out these 444 buy signals yourself. Go ahead, it's in the description down below, but Ortex agrees as well. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 for a solid prediction upward. Well, in the previous video, we also talked about how we are defeating the downtrend from the January squeeze, right? We have this large, let's go over to Webull. and take a look at this large candle down, this large drawing downward here, wedging up AMC's trajectory. This downtrend was broken out of in the last 2 days alone, thanks to Adam Aaron's tweet of completing their at the money offering, as well as hashtag AMC Squeeze getting to the top of the Twitterverse. So once now we have the opportunity to try and retake 1458 again on Monday, that is what you need to know. We're waiting for that price action to get to 61.8% retracement, and that's what Ortex is giving us too. I love how they're saying that this is not financial advice. So if you wanted to be able to follow along and get these updates live, well, Twitter is probably the best place for that. Go ahead and follow me on Andrew Mo Money, either on Twitter or Instagram, anywhere that you prefer. The one other thing to pay attention to is that this number finally is no longer zero, right? We saw that this number was 0 shares available to borrow. This meant that after the margin calls on Thursday, we know that we have more Citadels and Melvas in the world that can finesse that borrow rate a little bit more, can take out all of the shares that they need to attack the stock and still be able to get out clean like a bandit, keep the cost to borrow rate low, right? You can really see it as a all-out attack on AMC from the last few days, 100% utilization for a long time, and yet day-on-day growth, 6 days in a row of daily growth for AMC. You know it to be true. We'll talk about in a future video of why the theoretical 100,000, even greater floor is just now becoming much less of a theoretical possibility and much more of a practical possibility. But before we go on too long, remember, Ortex is in the description down below. Cheat code is in the description down below as well. And I hope you guys have already gotten your 2 free stocks with Webull. That's the application that I use to screen stocks on the live show. We go bell to bell. I am going to announce that I'm probably not going to be live streaming on Monday. I have a family engagement, but if I do, wouldn't that be a fun surprise? So I will see you there, just to give you guys a heads up. Quick shout out to the Patreon, which I am going to be replacing over this weekend. There's that tiny hot sauce right there. Came with a little bed and breakfast. Wasn't that a fun surprise to wait until the very end? If you guys wanted to be able to support the show's growth up to 82,000 subscribers, well, we're on our way to 100,000. Would love for you to click that subscribe button and that bell button to make sure you don't miss out on a future video. Thanks to those of you who pressed that join button, that made you show up here in the end screen, and we'll see all of you in the money. Say bye, Meatball. Hey, Meatball. Peace.